Our world is not good enough. Our world needs transforming, and our world needs it desperately. How many of you sit and watch the news and feel in your own souls that it's not the way the world should be? How many of you look at Afghanistan, look at India, look at Iraq, look at these situations and say it must be changed? I am with you. Now I ask you, raise your hand, please, if you think you are a person who can transform this world. Raise your hand if you think you are a person who can transform this world. Raise your hand if you long to be a person that this world would be transformed by. Raise your hand if you would like to be one such person. My friends, the story of today, the story of Crossroads, my story is not a story of great individuals doing great deeds. It is the story of normal people sitting in normal seats with an amazing world needing help and seeing this help transform it. My family officially, as you heard, is Australian. My parents tell me that. They don't lie. I have no memories, though, of living in Australia. I lived there till I was 3. I spent 7 years in the Philippines, 9 years in Hong Kong, 2 in the States, 1 in China, 1 in the States, 2 in Hong Kong, 2 in the States, 6 in Hong Kong. And you add that together and you get my age, which is 18. Good girl. And as a family, we began to be exposed to a lot of world need. And how many of you guys have walked by someone or seen someone in need? Have you ever seen someone in need? Do you know those feelings that you have when you walk by those people? You see their plight. You want to help. You long to help. You try and wonder, what do I do? Do I give them money? Do I not give it to them? Do I give it to a charity? Do I give it to the government? What do I do? What is my place in light of world need? And if I'm too loud, you can turn me down. My family also didn't know, but we in all of our travels saw a lot of world need and we began to be uncomfortable. So we went and we asked people, we said, what do we do? How do we serve? And these charities, they said to us, be you. My dad's an accountant, my mom's in PR, and they said to us, we don't have accountants, we don't have PR people, could you be you and help us be us? And we said, cool, yes. So we did. For 6 years, we volunteered and in our free time used our words and numbers to help people. And then one night in '95, my family was having dinner. And I don't know if you've ever had dinner. You ever had dinner? Was it good? Okay, well, you should make better dinners. My dinner was okay. And again, it's too loud. You can turn me down if need be. My family was having dinner. The phone rang, and a lady called my parents and said, I'm sorry to bother you, but I have a problem. We said, ma'am, what's your problem? She said, 2 million people have just lost everything in the worst flood in 100 years in China. What can your family do? And we said to this lady, what do you mean? We're a family, right? Mother, father, 2 kids, and a dog. We're like, ma'am, how on earth does a family help 2 million people in China? And she said to us, she said, I don't know. She said, I know one thing. The temperature in China is going to minus 20 degrees. If these people don't get clothing, they'll die. Can you help me find clothing for 2 million people? And we said, we went to go see my godmother in hospital. We're standing there buying a drink. We overhear 2 women talking. We don't know these women. One woman says to the other woman, why, you know, I've got all these things I want to give to, like, poor people, but, like, I don't know any poor people. Do you know any poor people? And we're listening to them talk. My mom says, sorry to interrupt, but we know 1 or 2 million poor people. You want to give your stuff to us? These ladies gave us 19 boxes. We took them, sent them to China, thought we were done, turned to leave. The phone rang again. The lady said to us, the quality you sent was good, but the quantity wasn't enough. So the second time we went to my old high school, they gave 72 boxes of clothing. Then a businessman gave 136, 248, and then it was like a hole opened in the heavens, and goods just began to pour into our warehouse. And it was amazing for us. We didn't realize this, but you know, Hong Kong doesn't really do a lot of secondhand stuff. Most people won't buy your old shoes or your old sofa or your old TV or your fridge. But it's not only true of your family, it's true of businesses too. Businesses began calling us. We had a bank call and they say, look, we're moving. Can you take our old furniture? We said, how many pieces? They said, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 10. We have 10 floors of furniture. Timberland gives us 3 containers of shoes. Cathay Pacific, their blankets. We get 20,000 men's suits, 60,000 socks. And in the first 4 years, we grew 150,000%. We moved to the old airport, which was our second warehouse. And we're now in a 14-acre former army barracks with 40 buildings filled with resources. Half of this stuff we get to send to people in need in Hong Kong, and the other half around the world. And then something else happened. We began sending shipments, for example, 1 to Ghana. We sent a shipment to Ghana. 1 charity got it. 5 other charities, they looked at the one who got it and they said, hey, where did you get a 40-foot container of awesome stuff? Oh, it came from Hong Kong. So we'd sent 1 shipment and 5 requests came. Another shipment, more requests, another. We ended up with 800 orders from 100 countries around the world. At the same time, companies began calling us. And they said, look, you took our stuff from Hong Kong, but we have a warehouse full of shoes in Korea, clothing in Malaysia, radio equipment in Thailand, furniture in Scotland. Could you come in the next 36 hours and clear our warehouses? And we were looking at this world of need. We're looking at this world of resources. We're like, surely there must be a way to connect. You know, this is the age of the internet. People get married online. I wasn't looking at you. I just... People get married on. There must be a way to connect need and resource online. There must be like eBay for charities. So we looked for this online humanitarian eBay. We couldn't find it. We went to the United Nations and we said to the man in charge of the UN's website, sir, why can't we find this website? And he said to us, you can't find it because it doesn't exist. He said, for 10 years I've known someone needs to build it. We can't build it. Could you? So we began to build the second part of our work, which is kind of like online dating. You don't get excited. Online dating between the business and the charity sectors. And so that's the second part of our work. And interestingly, the United Nations said to us, we need to partner with businesses too. And they said, could you make a copy of your website just for the United Nations so that businesses would have one door that they can use to enter the UN agencies? And so what we did is we built for free a website for the United Nations. So if you go to business.un.org, again, you'll see it there. So the online part was the second part of our work, and then something else happened. Someone said to us, they said, you know what, we want tourists and other people to see what you're doing. And we said to them, why? Well, I mean, they're welcome, but why do tourists want to come and see people serving the world? And they say they don't. But we want them to see that Hong Kong, it's not just about money or finance or entertainment, but Hong Kong's got soul. We said, okay. Soul, good. Tourists can come. If tourists come, what do they need? And we were told three things. They said all tourists, number one, require toilets because they pee. We thought, okay, fair enough. We wrote that down. Number two, they said all tourists require drinks to help them do number one. We said, okay. But number three, they said the main job of all tourists is shopping. You need to sell something. And we said, what? Because, you know, when people give us stuff, we don't sell it to the rich. We give it to the poor. Well, what do we sell? And suddenly we realized in all the countries we were working, people were making stuff, but with insufficient market. And we thought, great, we can actually buy from the poor, help the poor eat, help the poor do their jobs, and then at the same time help the tourists do their job of shopping. And you know, fair trade, the idea of fair trade, it's big in the States, it's big in the United Kingdom, but in Hong Kong, it's just starting. And it is sad, but it's true that the largest fair trade shop in Hong Kong is actually on our site. And so that formed the third part of our work. But then the last part of our work, again, we didn't plan. We are losers in the nicest possible way. We 6 years ago, had our 10th anniversary, and we forgot. We were just working, and suddenly we thought, oh, shoot, we're 10. We're supposed to do something. And you know, normally for an anniversary in Hong Kong, people will go to a 5-star hotel, and they have a big da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da, you know, a gala. But you can tell I'm not a good dancer. And we also thought, you know, that it's not really our scene, this 5-star hotel. What could we do for our anniversary that would show people our soul? Show them why we serve. And you know something I love about living in Hong Kong? Does anyone here speak Cantonese? Cool. Do you know the Cantonese word for charity? Charity, 中文點講? How do you say charity? I'll help you out. Teasing 機構. The word for charity is teasing. But the word in Cantonese for crazy is what? Teasing. Why do you all know that? But anyhow, fine. But what I love is that in Hong Kong, the word for charity, teasing, and crazy, teasing, is so similar because we walk and often cross that line between the two. And for our 10th anniversary, we had a teasing idea. We thought, you know what? Wouldn't it be awesome, instead of going to some 5-star hotel, if we could bring CEOs out to where we are. And when they come, we'll take away their watch, their wallet, their cell phone, their laptop. We will give them hammers, nails, and a pile of trash. We'll let them build slum houses. And for 24 hours, we'll let them sleep on the ground, eat with their hands. Just for one day, we'll let them live the way the people we're serving spend a lifetime. So we did this once, and we thought that's all we'd ever do. These business leaders, they came back to us, and they said to us, this was huge. They said, I want my office to feel what I'm feeling, but I can't take 24 hours with them. Do you have a program in 2 or 3 hours that can help my office to feel? We said, sure. Principals began to bring teachers began to bring students, and suddenly people said to us, it's not enough. Poverty is only one topic. What about HIV? What about refugees? What about the environment and the poor? What about blindness? What about? And these programs exploded. And then the United Nations called us back, and they said, you know, every year in Switzerland, there's a very famous meeting called the World Economic Forum. Don't know if you've heard of it. Bill Gates, Bill Clinton, anyone called Bill or with Bills goes to this meeting. And they said to us, could you bring your refugee simulation to Switzerland so we can run it for people at the World Economic Forum? And we said, really? Because our refugee simulation, we have soldiers and guns and landmines and smoke and barbed wire and tents and lights and sound. And we said, you want us to send this to Switzerland? And they said, yes, please. So we did. We shipped our guns and all these things to Switzerland. We built this refugee camp 3 minutes away from the World Economic Forum. And I don't know if you know this phrase in English. It says, if you build it, they will come. Do you know that phrase? Yeah, it's not true. Because if you build something and people are busy, they can't come. So we built this refugee camp. We thought, who can we invite? And then we thought, Richard Branson. You know, the guy in charge of Virgin? He's kind of a teasing kind of guy. He's got soul and passion. We said, sir, would you be willing to come and do this activity? We sent him an email. The next day, I checked my email. It said, dear David, I'd love to do the simulation. See you on Friday. Richard. I thought, oh, Sir Richard, thank you for coming. So Sir Richard Branson came. Do you know the shoe company Nike? You ever heard of that? They don't just do shoes. I'm kidding. They're a massive company. The CEO of Nike then rocked up to do the simulation. Then another guy walks in, the most expensively dressed man I've ever seen. He walks in, name tag swings out. I'm like, who is he? And he was the CEO and chairman of Gucci. I thought, well, no wonder you look so good, sir. And then after that, an elegant woman came. It was his wife. Then after that, the head of the United Nations came, and they said, could you do this for years? And so over the last several years, we've had the head of Skype, the head of Wikipedia, the head of IKEA, the head of UPS, TNT, HP, all of these guys come through. And do you know what I love? I love watching these guys weep, watching them cry on behalf of those in need. It's an extraordinary thing to see their companies redirect their efforts to help displaced people as a result of these activities. But the last piece is this. Back in Hong Kong, as you know, the Hong Kong government last September launched a new curriculum that hits all high schools, secondary schools in Hong Kong, the local schools. And this new curriculum, they long to give students chances to serve, but also to have a global worldview, a global perspective of need and resource. And the government, as you know, has launched this curriculum, but they said, we don't have enough money to be able to send our students, thank you, we don't have enough money to be able to send our students all over the world, travel. But you know, the activities at Crossroads, they give people a global experience in a local activity. And people said to us, how much can you expand to handle 200,000 students a year? And we said, nuts. Because in the last 7 years, we've had about 70,000 participants come through our doors. But 200,000 a year is a lot. But we thought, you know what we could do? We could take all of our programs and actually turn all of them on and run all of them all the time. In fact, we thought, why don't we make one large experiential 14-acre global village? And so right now, that's what we are doing. We are designing, in the microcosm of a village, a situation to reflect a macrocosm of world need. This global village, it's the first of its kind globally. It will be based here in Hong Kong. This is the plans that we're working on. And I step back and I look at this. I look at the stuff that's sent, the website, the fair trade, the global village. And what amazes me is I look at you guys and I think, why not you? You know, my parents, they're just parents. They're a bit like your parents. They look different, but they're a bit like your parents. And I think, you know, there is no reason that their lives could not be mirrored by all of yours. Have any of you ever noticed that superheroes, have you ever noticed that superheroes in the movies, they often have their underwear on the outside? Have you noticed that? What is the story there? I don't really know the reasons, but can I tell you a secret that I've learned in life? A secret that I have learned in life is that all the superheroes in life that I have met, do you know where they wear their underwear? It's not on the outside. It's on the inside. Agnes Gonsha-Bajakshu, you know her, amazing lady, teacher at the age of 18. This lady went to go saw people in need outside her window. She said, I want to transform this world. She saw this old man, cared for the old man. Another old man was brought to her, then another, then another, then another. Then eventually this lady stepped outside of her situation. She asked for permission to leave her school. She began to care for lots of people, and then her name changed to Mother Teresa. This lady did not start with her underpants on the outside or with riches and resources. She started with a heart to transform this world, which burns in your soul too. Ladies and gentlemen, this planet must be transformed, and it must be transformed by normal people using the resources around them to see this world change for the better. Thank you for coming. Let's go now and change this world.